ended up beating me because of freaking Hypergraph Tempest. I couldn't do anything about it. So now I'm sitting there and I really am afraid of MSP, and now I'm about to play Yipes, who at the time I would consider him to be one of my heroes. And so now I'm on this stage, and there was this guy named Golden Kneesmore, and he used to have this big old stick, and he would put 2 weights on it, and it was like a huge stick, and it was like, yeah, you play on that. And I went into this room and I played against Golden Kneesmore, and I played on the stick. And it was like, yo, this feels like an FFA stick. Pause. Yeah, sure. Pause. 100%. Pause. But it feels like FFA had these huge machines with these really gigantic screens, and the stick was like apart from you. You would have to sit in a chair basically, and the stick was really ahead of you. It wasn't like the really small cabinets, okay? And his stick was like designed like that. And with the weight, it was sturdy and it didn't move. So I'm playing on it and I'm like really comfortable. Like, yo, this feels like the arcade. This feels like what it feels like when I'm playing at FFA. And mind you, at this point now, at FFA, I'm beating Sumighty more consistently than he beats me. I'm beating Combo Fiend more consistently than he beats me. My record against these people on stick at that arcade is OD. So I'm like, yo, and I really hate the fact of like the MSP matchup without the dash. Mind you, I was watching Josh Wigfall. I want to say the score at one point was 5-1. Justin came over there and coached him and started telling him, hey, once he DHCs, he doesn't have a, whatever, rush him down now. And he was like coaching him. The match went from 5-1 me to 7-5. And I told Justin, I was like, yo, that's not fair, bro. You like it went from me almost destroying this dude to him saying like, yeah, man, but like, what can you do? Like this, whatever. And so I'm salty about this, okay? Sorry, really quick side tangent. So I'm salty because I feel like this match was free. It was free. You can look it up, Preppy has it. I was destroying this nigga. Then Justin Wong came over there and coached him, and then he almost beat me because I didn't have the pad. And I'm like, because he started telling him how to exploit the pad. So I'm feeling uncomfortable. So now that match happens. The Chris Schmidt match happens. Nelson happened where I lost 7-1 to him on that pad. And I was playing so terribly because at the time I didn't know how to lightning attack consistently. There were just so many problems. I didn't know how to do kick supers. I learned how to like do an additional 1-button kick now. But long story short, I'm like struggling with certain things, but I'm just getting by with like fundamentals and stuff and good execution. 1-button dash. So now I've played on this stick, and Golden Kneesmore is like, yo, do you want to use this? I'm like, yo, I could use that for Evo. I could use this for the top 8. There's 2 things. I think to myself, 1, I want to prove the people that keep saying that I can only play on pad, I want to prove them wrong. So I think if I get a joystick and I play there against Yipes, 1, it shows that I actually am a competent player at the game on a joystick. Number 2, it also shows like I get rid of this weakness that I have of not being able to play well on stick. I'm not being able to play this mirror match well, MSP versus MSP on a pad. And I'm playing against the MSP who is Yipes. So I decide, despite having won all the way up there to top 8, I decide I'm gonna play on stick for top 8. And I never like to admit this because it's not who I am now as a human being. Part of me at that point made me think I want to earn the respect of this community by showing them that I can play on a joystick. At this point now, the reason why it's so shameful to say that is because, to be 100% honest, I don't care about anyone else's opinion. I know that I'm great at the things that I do. I don't need to prove it to you. And if you tell me, oh, you suck, it's like, okay, you think I suck. What difference does that make? I know what I'm good at. I'm no longer trying to prove it to people, but at that time I was. And so I go up there and I play Yipes on a joystick. And in fact, that match should be there. Y'all want to watch that? I really hate it to this. I don't like it. It makes me upset.
Get ready. Here we go. This is scary match. 50-50.
So I'm the red
Whoever
Magneto.
gets it first. Fanatiq. Snap. Oh, he's mixed. Fanatiq.
Pause. You see that thing I'm talking about with the Magneto matchup? I'm gonna show you right now. Look at this. That thing that I was saying about how for Magneto players, when you have this spacing, you call Storm, and then I did drop a dash. You call Storm, you super jump and you dash at them and you press fierce. Look at this. The other person is doing ha ha. They get hit, right? Into the fierce, into the storm assist. And I learned later, now, I know this now, but at the time I didn't know this. I learned this in 2008. You just do short on the way down. You know you combo into a full combo? You start the ROM from that, but you need storm.
Fanatiq takes game one.
I want to point out some things. Number one, I thought, this is my brain back then. I thought to myself, because of the fact that I have this, like I'm now playing against Yipes, who is literally, at this point, you can argue with your mama, the best player in the world. And I just won a game on a joystick, showing I can play on a joystick. It's just not what I'm the most comfortable on. Now, when you've been playing since you were 8 on a controller exclusively, pretty much, and now you're talking about, 15 years later, having like hard coded yourself to be comfortable on a controller, like playing on a stick is going to always never feel as comfortable to me as playing on a pad. So here I beat this guy and I'm thinking, whoa, now mind you, this is one of the most glorious moments of my entire life at this time, without a doubt, because I'm sitting here on this stage in this game that I've dedicated God knows how many times. And I'm not exaggerating when I'm saying I would be spending sometimes more than 10 hours in a given day just sitting here doing training mode. Okay. So this moment means everything to me. And I wanted to prove myself at the time. And here I am playing against one of my freaking heroes who I've literally picked his brain about the game and who has taken the time to explain it to me and all of these things. And I'm playing against him and I just beat a game against who is the best player in the world. Okay. So this is like a high like I've never experienced, and I'm on the stage, the lights are dark, there's a crowd off to my right, and they're all just like cheering, and you hear like a thunderous cheering, and you're just like, whoa, what is this moment? Like it just means everything. I'm telling you, it was one of the best moments of my entire life up to this point. The most glorious moment of my entire life up to this point. Probably right up there with losing my virginity. I'm kidding. But anyway, so this is like huge. And so I've won game one. Let's go ahead and let's keep going.
Here we go, game two. Yikes. Oh, it's deadly. Oh, Yikes is so quick. Fanatiq is gone. It's back fast. That's how fast it is. Oh my goodness, this was too quick. Same day as you, Navigo's gone. Storm. Storm is another problem. The pieces are just too insane. IFC Live takes game two.
Last game.
Game three.
What is this?
IFC. Oh! You must silence. That's the man win. Oh my God!
outside. That was not fair.
With 18 to go, IFC, you get caught, and you get mixed up just like that. Here comes Storm. It's not looking too good. Solomon's got an uphill battle. Oh, Solomon. Great.
Best side lock in the world. I said it. And what? You need to do the second roll. Oh, with the dang roundhouse? Yeah, you can. Yeah, you can do launch roundhouse. You did, but I mean, at that point, meter wasn't going to be the problem. So, I got washed here, okay? Now, here's what happens. After this match right here, I lost to Yipes, but I'm in top 8. And mind you, at the time, I really didn't know how brackets worked that well, but I had came down here this Evo, I want to say with Dogface, or no, I had left with some people, but I was going back with Dogface. Long story short, here I am. And Dogface at this point is somebody who I have a tremendous amount of respect for, because I've only had older siblings and older whatever, so on and so forth. And at this point now, all my family's kind of moved out, so on and so forth, and I'm isolated. I'm doing this gaming thing, and at the time, my family are all really, really heavy on me about, like, you got to do music, you should be doing music, you should be doing music. You're wasting your time with this gaming thing. Blah, 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 blah. So at this point, I'm sitting here and I've like really put in all this work and all this time into fighting games. And long story short, I'm talking to Dogface, who's my mentor, because all my elder siblings and stuff have all kind of gone away, and they really don't want to support me with this fighting game stuff and all that stuff, right? And so I go, and I remember after that match, even though I lost, first off, I remember telling Dogface, like, yo, I'm top 5. And this is the big year with Toyota Yaris, and I'm not going to get into all the controversial Evo stuff that Evo did regarding Toyota Yaris that I have all the information on, and we got receipts for that stuff too, but I'm not going to get into that stuff right now. What I'm talking about is the fact that Yaris had sponsored it, and so there was going to be a total of $50,000 in prize money for the fighting game community. Now, should that number have been higher? Absolutely. All of us who know the information recognize that, but the fact of the matter is they decided to give of the wealth of cash that they got to the players $50,000. And so now Yaris is sponsoring Evo, and so this year 5th place and like so on and so forth get all paid money. Okay, so now it's like, yo, I tell Vic, like, yo, I'm 5th place, and he's like, what? No, you're in top 8. And I said, no, but I'm in winners. That means that the 2 people in 8th place, they have to eliminate each other, and so those people will be 8th and 7th, which means now no matter what, I have to get 5th place. And he's like, I don't think it works that way. And I'm like, well, think about it. If those 2 lose, then they're going to be 8th. I can't go 8th or 7th. And then he goes, oh, I think you're right. So it's like, yeah, I'm top 5. Now, I lost to Yipes. I'm still excited because I got top 8, okay? And I go to Vic, and I'm like, I'm not even upset that I lost to Yipes, because I think Yipes is the best player in the world at this time, so I'm not entirely disappointed. But I also go and I say to Vic, I'm like, yo, did you see that, bro? Like, I took a game, because I had spoken to Vic about whether I should use the thing. Also, Golden Needsmore tells me, okay, listen, if you want to use my stick for Evo, you got to give me $100. To use my stick for the top 8, you have to give me $100, and I'll transport it and carry it for you and all that kind of stuff. I've probably made $1,700 or $1,800 from just money matching people this Evo, because all I do is sit in the ballroom and money match. I don't even eat. I literally do not eat. And time would go by so quick. I would literally sit down at a station, get there early in the morning, sit down at a station, and I wouldn't even know what was going on. Like, I would be thinking like, okay, I'm getting kind of hungry, or maybe I want to go get out, but I'll go do stuff later. And then by the time I would finally leave, I didn't even use a restroom. I have an enlarged bladder, so I didn't even use a restroom at this point. So I'm just literally sitting there for hours. I mean, 8, 9, 10 hours. So I sit there and I go, and I'm like, wait a minute. When I finally leave the ballroom, it's nighttime. I'm like, whoa, how long has it been? And I've been there like the whole time, just making a whole bunch of money and not even realizing that how much time has gone by. So at this point, I got like I said, like $1,700. It's stupid. So I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, this is nothing. Like, yeah, I mean, I don't have any bills at this point. I have 0 debt. I got my little job doing my music thing. And so I'm just like, yeah, I'm set. Like, I'm not really tripping. I don't really care about the money. What I more so care about is just the fact that, yeah, I get to, you know, use this stick because it feels comfortable. So I go ahead and I pay him. So I pay $100 to play on a joystick at a tournament that I've played pad all the way through, where I'm most comfortable, and I end up getting washed 2-1 to Yipes. But I think to myself, yo, I proved something, right? I was like, and I was like, you see that? I was like, because Vic was commentating on this match, and there's a point where I don't have, where I get like a DHC, and someone goes, that means you don't have no Psylocke, and Vic says, actually, he's playing on a stick. He does have Psylocke. And while I'm playing Yipes, there's a point where I call Storm, and someone says, I swear it was Matrix, but it could have been someone else, but they're like off to the side, right outside of the stage, and someone says, wait, how is he calling Storm? And it was because of the fact that I was on a stick. And I was thinking to myself, like, yeah, I'm showing him, right? Got washed anyway at the end of the day. It wasn't a washing, but yeah, I lost, okay? So I go to Vic, and I'm like, yo, man, like, I did it. Like, you see that? Like, da-da-da-da-da. Whoa, it is like, how did it feel? And I'm like, it's the best feeling ever. Like, I'm like excited like a freaking 6-year-old. It's the best feeling ever. Oh my God, like all these people, da-da-da-da-da. And so he says to me, okay, you did it. That was a good job. What's a good job? So what do you think? And I was like, I said, I don't care that I lost, because I feel like I earned the respect. I showed them that I could play on the stick. And he asks me, so what are you gonna do with Yipes versus Chris? And I was like, well, I could play on pad, and like, and then like I feel like I would be best on pad. And I feel like or I could use stick, and I feel like stick earns more respect. And so then he asked me, okay, so do you want to try to win, or which one do you care about more? And I said, it makes me sick to my stomach now that I said this. I hate me. I said, I want the respect. Like a freaking idiot. Like a freaking idiot. What the hell does respect do for you? So I switched to the dang stick, use it against Chris Schmidt, got washed, got top 8, but got 5th place at Evo, and was the only person in the world in history to ever get there. I hate myself for making that decision. 1, respect ain't paying the bills. 2, it doesn't matter if you show people that you can play on joystick. People still say stupid stuff like, yo, he can only play on a pad. And it's like, what player do you think can't play on a pad? You think Sumati's really good? I watched that nigga when I was playing him on the joystick. Oh, you think, like, who? Like, so I just learned eventually, respect is fickle. Your respect is only as good as your last tournament. So that was my failing there. That was my failing. I was a kid. It was 2007, so I had to have been 23 at the time. It was a terrible decision that I made. I learned my lesson now. And afterwards, that was that. And I, did what I had to do. Everything was good. And people kept people were like still trying to talk their trash. Oh, you suck. You suck, blah, 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 blah. And then they would say stuff like, oh yeah, you were a fluke top 8. They kept saying that. Like I remember Chris Crizzle kept saying that, yo, you're a fluke, because I would pop off, talk trash, because I kept clapping him when he came to FFA, and he was like, yo, you're a fluke top 8. You're a fluke top 8. Of course, 2008, I ended up getting top 8 again. So I don't know if you're still here for that, Matrix, because that was a very long-winded question. But the answer is, as succinctly as I can put it, I used pad because that's where I was comfortable, because I didn't have the arcade experience growing up. So every time, for me, comfort's going to be that pad. It's like someone learning a language. If English is your first language, I can go study Japanese or Spanish or whatever. I don't think no language will ever be more comfortable to me than English. There will always be a slight accent. There will always be some moderate fluency issues, because I'm always going to be reliant on what I've started doing as a very young kid, what I have the most experience on. So I didn't do it to try to cheat. I did it because it made the most sense, considering how I trained and how I learned the game, considering I wasn't in a fighting game hub that had access to arcades on a regular basis. Whereas most people hone their skills in an arcade against competition, I honed my skills on a pad in training mode. So then that means my approach to the game has been different. My approach to skill building has been different. And so my outlook on everything is different. And I think that's what caused me to play Magneto and Storm and Psylocke differently than most people. Same with MSS. I'm a training mode warrior. That's where I hone my skills. So for me, I genuinely can't play on a stick as comfortable. That's why I play on a pad. And I think it really bothered me. It used to bother me It used to bother me. People really couldn't comprehend the idea that I was playing with a handicap. But if you study the MSP versus MSP match, you'll see how frequently Storm Assist is called. Even MSP versus Sandthrax, you will see how frequently the Storm Assist is called. It's necessary. Furthermore, the inability to DHC and then still have access to your anti-air is crippling. Furthermore, the idea that I can't snap and assist one can be crippling. So there's all of these things that I'm dealing with that I have to work around that I think held me back quite a bit. And it seems like everyone was so focused on dashes that they refused to acknowledge still that there was execution requirements, still that I was a very intelligent player, and still that I was particularly skilled and talented. So I think all of that to say, I've gotten to a point now, I think after 2008 getting top 8 and still having people talk trash about the pad and things like that, despite me doing exhibitions with people on a joystick and beating some of these people on a stick and stuff, like I think in winning tournaments on stick at FFA and things against the greats that they're talking about, like Sue Mighty and Finesse and things. So I think after winning the Rand Bats at FFA, all of these things that I showed in the arcade, for people to just refuse to acknowledge that arcade and console sticks are different and that they don't feel the same, I think at that point it made me realize that it's not my job to make you guys see reality. I don't have to think for you. If you're not capable of recognizing these differences, I don't owe you anything more. I'm confident in who I am. I'm confident in my ability. And so I play the way that is comfortable for me. Now, if you guys feel like that's cheating, that's on you. I'm not going to try to convince you otherwise. I think the evidence is always there. That's why I always was a pad player.
This deep and floating too much.